Sorcerers! Josh here. And we have what is the biggest announcement ever for growing the Sorcery player base, the Sorcery community, and everything that entails. Of all the things that many folks in the community, including myself, have been asking for, it is that Eric's Curiosa attend more events and bring more people into this game that we all love. And finally, after what I can only imagine was a considerable amount of work trying to get everything ironed out, and even though I lamented that they didn't go to Origins and that we haven't heard anything about Dragon Con and we haven't heard anything about, Gary Con and all these things, we have the announcement that Sorcery will be at Star City Games Cons throughout the country. This is far better than them just attending a major event like Origins or Gary Con or Dragon Con. And for those of you who are asking, well, why? I mean, these events typically are on a smaller scale than those events, and that is exactly the reason why. When you go to an event like Gen Con, there is so much you can do. Your time is limited, it is precious, and every minute that you give to a game matters. So, some people have to make choices, and those choices might involve, I really want to check out Sorcery, but I have to do this event over here. And they miss out on Sorcery. At these events with Star City Games, those opportunities are lessened. And therefore, people will have the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to, I've got my main whatever game it is, whatever trading card game it is. I'm going to go check out this other new game, and maybe it's because, I don't know, I'm a little disillusioned with my current trading card game. And I've decided to check out this other one because I've heard some good things. And those people over there looked like they were having a great time. There it is. The thing that many of us, myself included, have been asking for. So, Eric's Curiosa is going to be, Sorcery is going to be at the Star City Game events in Houston, Baltimore, and Las Vegas. The events are in October and November. Can't remember the exact dates, but I know the weekends for Houston and Baltimore are back-to-back. Those are the two events I'm looking at, hopefully attending. Not sure if I'm going to be able to pull it off. I'm going to try. Vegas probably just isn't going to happen, but you never know. There's some other places that people would like me to come. So, hopefully you'll see me somewhere else if you don't see me at Gen Con, and if I can make this Baltimore and Houston thing work out. If you don't catch me there, I'm talking to some other people about doing some other things. So hopefully I can catch you there, and I can shout at you, and it'll be fun. But back to this announcement. This is so great. I mean, when I heard this announcement, and the thing was, I had left my home about an hour prior to the announcement to go spend the weekend with my family at my parents' house. And we were going to, have a big thing because it's 4th of July here in the U.S. And that's a big time of year for family to get together. So I left. And I was like, really? You make this announcement an hour after I leave? So I had to change plans, and came back to talk about this because this is that important. That I came back to my home, which is about 2 hours from where I was, to film this because I am telling you, this announcement is the fundamental, change is the wrong word. It is the key thing that so many of us have been asking for, and the key thing that I and many others believe Sorcery needs to truly grow the game into something that is well known with a large player base, to bring it on to the level of other trading card games that may not be the top dog, but people are like, yeah, I heard of that. Those guys down at my local store, they play Sorcery. And that's exactly what this announcement can lead to. The people at local stores playing Sorcery. There are Sorcery events. No longer, hopefully, will we have the days where to get to a Sorcery event, people are driving 3 or 4 hours. Hopefully, we can get that down to an hour. Now, out west, that may be a little bit tougher, longer driving distances, at least in the U.S. Again, I speak mostly to the U.S. side, but, but over in Europe, same thing. I know over there, you folks have long, public transit rides, or if you drive, I know, it's usually get on a train to go somewhere. So hopefully we're eliminating that too. And people are going to be able to go to their local stores, play Sorcery, and have a Sorcery community. That is what this announcement will lead to. So I am thrilled. This is actually more than I hoped for. Because again, I was just looking at, can you go to Origins? Can you go to PAX? Can you go to those things? This, I think, is much better. It is a much more, it's going to attract more people. Because they're not going to be at those major events. They're going to take time to look at other things potentially. And there's so many of these events. Star City Games has these events throughout the year. So there's going to be regular exposure of Sorcery at event after event after event after event. And that is what the game has needed. Because I cannot tell you how many stores I've walked into and they have no idea what Sorcery is. This will change that. Now, maybe I'm counting my chickens before they hatched. Because obviously, there's going to be some involvement with, okay, it's my understanding that Star City Games is going to actually staff these events. Their staff is going to help run them. I'm presuming that is the administrative side. They handle the ticketing, they, help people with all those types of things. The big question for me is who is going to be judging these events? Because there are not a whole lot of people that judge Sorcery. And those of us, at least in the U.S., are pretty widely scattered. So I am wondering how Eric's Curiosa will assist, and I'm assuming they're going to have to assist, Star City Games with the judge staffing for the events. That's my big question right now. Again, I'm hoping to make Baltimore and Houston. If I can, obviously, I will offer to assist with those if they will have me. But that's the only real question I have. The game is going to be there. I don't know if they have booths. I don't know if that's a thing. But, maybe it is. I've never been to a Star City event. I've not been in trading card games for a very long time until Sorcery came along. So, but I have looked up some things and it's like, oh, okay. I see where this is going to go. It's going to be great. But let's talk about the events that they're going to be having, because this side is also very interesting. There's going to be community events and championship events. And community events are for people to have a good old time. 3 rounds of just playing. There are going to be so many jank decks. I can only imagine that CJ is thrilled by the idea that he's going to get to go to Star City, Baltimore, And he's going to play the jankest decks in these community events. I just know it's coming. But that's great, because that is probably one of the biggest selling points of Sorcery. You can have a lot of fun with Sorcery. You can play jank decks. And even if you go to really big events, you can do moderately well with decks that are kind of... So I think it's great that they're actually putting out this whole little grouping of community events where just have a good time. That is fantastic. Then we have the championship events. We all know what that is. That's going to be like Sorcery Con and Gen Con. The Quarterson Cup. It's big events. Bring your best deck. Let's try to win probably some really great prizes. That's what we're doing. So, the one little thing though, there's 3 formats in each of these. The first format is, sealed. The second format is constructed. It's the third format. The third format, it made me think, how are they going to work? It's a pre-con. Pre-con community events and pre-con championship events. And I thought to myself, pre-cons? I have questions. Are we going to allow every pre-con? Because for those of you that don't know, the alpha pre-cons are pretty juiced. I mean, pretty juiced in comparison to the beta pre-cons. So I've got to think if they're just going to allow any pre-con, including the alpha pre-cons, we're going to see a lot of alpha pre-cons unless the Gothic pre-cons are amped up in power. But I've got a feeling the Gothic pre-cons are going to kind of be on that same level as the beta pre-cons. So if they allow alpha pre-cons, and I would think they would, I think we're going to be seeing a whole lot of alpha pre-cons at these events, which I think is cool. I think it's great that the alpha pre-cons are going to see a lot of play, but again, from my mind, I want there to be some balance, especially in championship events. These community events, they sound great. Do what you want. Have a fun time. Play the weirdest, most bizarre thing you can think of. Fantastic. But in a championship type event, I like some balance. Why we've talked about things like bans and that type of thing. Seasonal bans. So, how do you do a pre-constructed championship event at a Star City event? I just play it. I'm assuming the alpha ones are going to be there. And if they are, they're probably going to get played a lot. Because in terms of powerful cards, they have more uniques, more elites than the other pre-cons. Presumably the Gothic pre-cons will be kind of set at the power level of the beta pre-cons. So, now maybe they're changing it up though. Maybe these events will only be Gothic pre-cons because they're going to be specifically designed for this new format, the pre-constructed deck format. And, but the Gothic pre-cons are designed for this interaction. So that would be pretty neat, but we'll see. So that's the one, the pre-constructed deck events is the one I have a lot of questions about. I'm very excited to see what that format looks like. It's very interesting to me to tell people you're going to play with this fixed deck. That's really interesting. Oh boy, you could take that. Well, you could really take it to the next level, right? Gothic pre-constructed deck, you're handed a random Gothic pre-con for your tournament event. That would be hilarious. You don't even know what you're playing when you get there. Yeah, that'd be fun. Someone needs to do that. Someone who helps run events, random Gothic pre-con event. Woo! That would be hilarious. I would love to see that. But back to this, the announcement itself, fantastic. We got a little preview of City of Glass, new site. Already some controversy about the wording on the card because, in the rule book it states sites cannot take damage. Yet the text we saw said if this site takes 2 damage, it's destroyed. So that's fun. could be a preview of what we've got coming in the codex, maybe. Maybe we're going to fundamentally change that wording in the rulebook somehow. Maybe it's going to be when a site takes damage, it is converted to life loss. So maybe that's how they're going to change it, and that will be how that card is going to function. Be very interesting to see. So, City of Glass, very beautiful piece of art. That is alternate art. They did specify that as alternate art. Another card from Gothic that we're going to see, that we've got to see. So, very cool that they tucked a little Gothic preview in there for us. But overall, I cannot tell you how happy I am about this announcement. I have said to all of you in videos, grow the community, grow the community. The things that people have had their qualms about with what Sorcery has done in terms of various things, many of them can be solved with more players. And Eric's Curiosa, just delivered that potential solution. Got to make it work. We need those events to pop off, of course. So, I hope all of you are already planning. How are you getting to Houston or Baltimore or Las Vegas? Because that's what I'm doing right now. I hope to see some of you there. But this is what we needed. So, Eric's Curiosa, awesome job. This is fantastic. Way more work ahead of themselves for Eric's Curiosa, because they've got to have a way to have judges at these events, whether they're training Star City Games staff, whether they're getting a hold of some of the community members who have judged at major events, however they're going to handle that. So even though this announcement says, hey, they're going to be there, now there's even more work, more hard work to build the Sorcery community. It's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait. And I hope that all of you feel the same. And if you don't, I don't know what else you can ask for at this point. This is it. This is the biggest opportunity to move Sorcery from a place where it's kind of a smaller game that is not well known to a place where it is fundamentally a player in the TCG space. A known game at every store that people are playing, that people love. And we all know how fantastic the gameplay is for Sorcery. It is not hard to make people fall in love with this game. It's not hard. Every person I've taught has loved it. They have loved it. They have loved the grid, the play. They have even like, oh man, at least I don't have to worry about my opponent doing something on my turn. It's very clean cut in terms of that. The interactions are very limited. So, this is it. This is the opportunity for Sorcery to become a major player in the TCG space. I can't wait. I'm going to do everything I can to help make that happen. I hope you do too. Hope to see you at some of those events. I've still got to figure everything out. I'm going to have to change some things in my schedule, but I'm going to do everything I can to try to be at least a few of these. I hope to see you there. As always, keep on contesting the realm, and man, think of all the new players. New players contesting the realm with us. Yeah. Keep on contesting the realm!